Hello my friends and welcome to part 2 of the now official solo mode deck overviews where I go over the opponent's loner decks. I would have gone over my decks that I use for the Danger Fowls and Worshippers as well, but I already went over the Danger Fowls deck in one of the solo mode my deck videos, and like the Worshippers of the Sacred Phoenix, I went over that at the very end of yesterday's video. I also went over this at the very end of yesterday's video. Just a quick recap, basically, more or less. But yeah, if you would like to see those decks, I timestamped them both in the description of yesterday's video. They can also be found as the as part 6, or no, it's either I believe it's part 6 of the no, I think it's part 7 actually. Yeah, it's part 7 of the solo mode my deck series, like playlist in that one. So yeah, anyway, let's go into the opponent's loan decks, and I'll try to be quick. I'll try to spend around 10 minutes each so like I can get through a lot of these. So yeah, let's start here since the practice deck is going to be the same as this. So this one is called Disquieting Danger, and it's basically just a core danger deck just to teach the basics is what they're saying. Yeah, and then like there's different ways of winning. You can like maybe get a direct attack in with Realm of Danger if like you're a little bit of life points away from win and your opponent has a full board. You can also increase the attack with Second Expedition and then go in for that direct attack if you just need a little bit of extra damage. Also it's good for being over monsters. And then Danger Feats of Strength also gives direct attacks and allows you to make 2 attacks at monsters. Yeah, but unfortunately if you do this and a direct attack, it's either attacking on monsters or this. But yeah, this is kind of good if like you're going up against monsters that have like a once per turn they cannot be destroyed, which is like not really much, but it's nice. Oh no. Now I understand what this is saying. It can make up to 2 attacks on monsters, which means you can attack one monster and you can attack another monster. Or you can attack the same monster twice. Okay, so it's a little bit better than I thought it was. I had to think about it for a second. Anyway, let's go through the deck. Sagan is good for searching out your lower level danger monsters with lesser attack. Also, it can search out extra copies of itself as well. Unfortunately, you can't activate their effects for the rest of the turn, but that is still pretty good. Like if it gets destroyed during your opponent's turn, then like it doesn't really matter. That effect doesn't really matter. And then Mystic Tomato, once again, like just helping to get out your just helping to flood the billboard a little bit more. It can bring out extra copies of itself, or like bring out one of your dangers, your like lower attack dangers, which like this deck is basically all about the lower attack stuff. But this one still has kind of too high attack for both of them still. Can also bring out your Sangan too, which is something, or the Witch, which is another adding something to your hand to proc the danger effects. It's probably better to just recruit Sagan with Mystic Tomato just because you'd rather have these in your hand. Although maybe having them in your field isn't too bad either. And then Jackalope just for special summoning other dangers from your deck. And like these all have the same effect when they're not the ones to be discarded when you use the effect. They just special summon themselves and then you draw a card. This one, because it allows you to special summon it no matter what you do. So that's pretty cool. So you're gonna pretty much get a buy with this guy either way. Also with this guy too. And then Chupacabra, you kind of want to make sure your graveyard is set up just in case he's the one not to be discarded if you can. and then you can like at least make sure you have like a special summon either way. And then this one is the only one where like if it is where if it is discarded, then it doesn't get a special summon. That's the only one that it's like that. But at least like if it stays on the graveyard and you also have Chupacabra, you could probably get like you could probably set up for that. And then Lure, unfortunately it doesn't proc the danger effect since they have to be discarded. This doesn't actually discard them. But it is good, nice for drawing, for extra draws. And then this one again, like nice for getting your dangers back to hand while removing a big threat on your opponent's side of the field. And then feats of strength for giving extra attack, for maybe like getting in for the extra damage needed to get game, or like just helping to give the, since like my opponent's playing a lot of smaller attack guys, like this is useful for making sure they have enough attack for getting over like bigger threats. It's kind of like similar to this one, but it gives less attack and defense. But it does at least also have that nice graveyard effect that lets you like discard a danger to like place this back into a deck and draw a card. So it like recurs itself very easily. And then this one allows you to special summon a danger from your deck. It's kind of random, but still like special summoning a danger is pretty nice. And then danger zone for help proc your danger stuff, and also get you more draws. Yeah. And this one also protects your monsters from being attacked too, so that's kind of nice. Okay, let's go into the next one. Okay, good. So, opponent's deck. So, the opponent's deck name is Danger Lair. I believe my opponent had a different name because I think that's how it is for after the basics. They always have a different AI name, but I forget what it was. Anyway, it doesn't really matter too much. This one just combining Lair of Darkness cards with Danger cards. Which is kind of, it's kind of nice that Darkest Diablos can like activate its effect in the graveyard too. So if you, so even if you put him in the graveyard with one of the graveyards, you can still just special summon him back. This one I found to be really annoying. I think I found this one to be the most annoying out of all of them when using my lone deck. When using my own deck, it was actually kind of the opposite. But I'll talk about that later. Yeah. And then, okay, so, and of course, Lair of Darkness allows my opponent to tribute off my own monsters, and they get a token if they tribute during their turn. Luckily, I get a token if they tribute during my turn. So that's pretty cool. It's up to another monster tribute that turn. Anyway, Tour Guide is good because it helps get out your your Fiend. But I believe if you're bringing out like some like Lilith, even if you try tributing it, I don't think you actually get the effect. I could be wrong though. Someone can correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure you don't actually get the effect. But it is nice to like at least guarantee you a rank 3 summon, like which is like any of these three. And then Lilith is nice because it can help you like get out your viruses a little bit more easily. Like you can search for you could search for even just 2 of the same card, which is nice, and then 1 of a different card. Like if there's like one you really want, like then like maybe you could like search out like the 2 copies. Like for example, if my opponent really wanted Eradicator, which I think is probably one of the best viruses. If my opponent really wanted Eradicator and they had like Darkest Diablos that they could tribute with that, then they could just search out 2 Eradicators and maybe one of the less powerful but still kind of powerful, like maybe I feel like... Is this a pre-errata deck devastation virus? I don't even know. So I guess like a lot of the viruses are actually pretty good. I feel like this is a pre-errata though, because like unless it's a different virus that like destroys monsters from your deck. Because I feel like there's also a virus that like destroys monsters from your opponent's deck, which is actually not that great because then your opponent's allowed to pick which monsters they want to destroy from them deck, so they just pick the best monsters with the best graveyard effects. Like if someone was activated against my frog deck, for example, I would just pick Swat Frog, or maybe 2 Dew Frogs and a Ronin, so that I would have my graveyard set up for the Ronin. But I don't know, like, huh? Maybe it's a different virus, or maybe this is a pre-errata. I guess it would make sense that it could be the pre-errata, because like Konami wants to make these lone decks as powerful as possible, just to give a little bit of a challenge. But anyway, yeah, someone can let me know if like this is a pre-errata of the deck devastation virus, or if it's a different virus I'm thinking of. Anyway, so yeah, Lilith is really nice because she can pick multiple of the same card. But I think a lot, like pretty much all these viruses are going to be pretty good, at least against the loner deck. Because I have a lot of varying like stats. Dangers have a lot of varying stats. Yeah, and then Danger Jackalope, once again, good for getting other dangers out of the deck. But this time they actually have playing some of the higher level dangers as well, so they have like a little bit of better options this time. And since they're playing an X deck, it helps with like being able to set up cards to go into like link plays and stuff. And then Tsuchinoki Noko, I already said why that's so good. But again, it's even better now with the links. Like once you include like in an X deck, like this getting like as many monsters on the field, it just becomes a whole lot better. Because now not only like is it for like just their stats in general, it's also thinking about like what you can go into in the X deck. And then Arima is good because it can add a layer of darkness. So my opponent's playing 3 Arimas and 3 layers to pretty much make sure they get their layer of darkness as soon as possible. And also it's really nice because you get to like add it can search for your other dark monsters. It can search for Lilith, it can search for Darkest Diablos, so like they actually have ways of being searched. It can also search for some of your like dangers as well. So yeah. That's if you tribute a dark, but that's gonna be pretty easy to like proc. Because my opponent's playing a lot of darks, I'm playing a lot of darks, because I'm also playing like a danger in the danger engine in the loner deck. And also Lair of Darkness treats everything as dark anyway. So yeah. And then again, Chupacabra, Mothman, I already explained why those are good. Just extra draws isn't too bad. This gets a draw either way. Nessie gets to search. Nessie's nice because it searches. It can search for a danger. So like both of its effects are pretty good. It either gets a draw or search. And then Darkest Diablos. This just can special summon itself real easily, especially when Lair of Darkness is on the field. But yeah, my opponent has so many ways of tributing that like they're probably gonna get this on the field real easily. And then Bigfoot, Thunderbird, Ogo, Pogo. These are kind of new, like, but you saw these. These like this. These either destroy a face up or a set respectively, or they can special summon themselves, which is nice for getting rid of threats. And then this one can like mill dangers, or they all have this special summon plus a draw card. That mill is pretty nice too. You can also proc their discard effects in other ways as well, but it looks like my opponent's not really playing a lot of like discard from their hand cards. But what is also nice is that like the dangers can already like they have to like discard something for their effects. So if they just discard one, the other dangers, you can get the special summon off of this one while like procking the other one's discard effect, which is pretty nice. And then Lair of Darkness is what makes this deck so annoying, because it can like tribute off, because my opponent gets to tribute off my own stuff. But I don't think that really played much of a role very much. I think just for the fact that my opponent can set up like very big boards is just annoying. I think I found that to be the most annoying. My opponent, like, because I don't think they really played many like viruses against me. I think it was more just for the sheer advantage they could get like off of like special summoning so much, and off of like their like pretty powerful range of like exceeding links. And also they have like a few ways of like getting some pretty good draws. Like this is pretty nice. It also procs the Darkest Diablos, and even if you don't have him at in the hand at time, if you draw into him with this card, you can still special summon him, because he only cares if a dark monster. See, like, yeah, see, because it said even if not, which means if you draw into him off of the greed, then you can still special summon him, because you technically still tributed something, which is crazy. And also this is another tribute thing for like I'm getting out like tokens, which I mean it doesn't say you can't do anything with them. Like you can do whatever you want with them. So you can use them for tribute summons, you can use them for link plays as long as the materials are fine. But you can't use them for exceed plays since they're tokens. But yeah, still really good. Yeah, so you got a lot of tributing stuff to get rid of my stuff while like proccing their effects at the same time. And then Levier is nice because it gets out banished monsters, which my opponent I don't think went into this very much. And then Zen mains. See, I don't think my opponent really went into rank 3s very much, actually. But yeah, these are some pretty nice rank 3s. This gets rid of back row. This can get rid of like anything and keep itself from being destroyed. This can also get rid of anything on my field, which is pretty cool. And then pretty cool for my opponent anyway. And then Abyss Dweller stops graveyard effects, which is pretty devastating when I'm versus like another danger deck. And then Baguska, like just in case my opponent's falling behind, but like my opponent never went into this. Baguska is a really situational card. Dugares is actually has a pretty nice effect. You have to skip your draw phase, but like his like you have to skip one of your phases, but like I think it's worth it because his effects are pretty strong. His effects are really strong. I mean, he's got a nice versatile array of effects depending on the situation. And then Big Eye is pretty nice. Like it's gonna be kind of hard for my opponent to go into higher rank sync exceeds because they have to get like 2 of the high levels. And and my opponent's not playing as many of the higher level ones. But like if my opponent can, like these choices aren't that bad. This one takes control of something. This one, And then this one also has another effect where it can just like have like one exceed material as long as you control and as long as you have exactly 5 dark monsters in your graveyard. So it has like multiple different ways of being able to special summon itself, which is interesting. Oh yeah, and this can proc banishes, so that like Levier can bring them out later on too. And then this one has a pretty nice effect, negating effects. And then this one can negate spells. And it has a few other good effects as well. I feel like I already went through this deck though. No, actually I don't think I did. Never mind. And then Phoenix and Unicorn, pretty standard links. One can get rid of back row, one can like spin anything back to deck, which is a really good effect. And then this guy, my opponent's playing a few of the higher levels. He has some pretty good effects, and like as long as like he can like make it so it can't be destroyed by card effects, which means that access code can't just destroy him, so it makes it a little bit harder to. But still, like access code should be able to pretty easily take him out if I can get into it and like have it go to like 5300. And the only thing about it is if it chooses to make a second attack, that's during the battle phase of the next turn. So there's a little bit of time to kill it off before that happens. And the access code, of course, really nice for like destroying a bunch of cards at once. Anyway, there's the deck right there. I guess I took a little bit longer going through that deck. That's only because it was a little bit more to it. And then this one is combining dangers and dark worlds, and saying since you have so many darks, that means like it's really easy to like be able to proc the beginning of the end and the Allure of Darkness, which my opponent was able to do against me when I was playing my my own deck. I feel like that was a pretty epic duel. My opponent like was able to get itself down to 5 cards left in the deck. It was like pretty much proccing all of the cards. Like that was crazy. My opponent, I think, was getting super lucky, like not discarding like a different danger so that like it could keep drawing. But yeah, so yeah, this is a Danger Dark World. I think is like the original thing that people were like thinking about combining the dangers with. It's especially good because like when the dangers were like so hyped, that means that like if you like combine the dangers with the Dark Worlds, since the Dark Worlds have effects that proc off of like have like even more powerful effects that proc when your opponent does something. Like when it's discarded by an opponent's card effect, that means like with all the danger decks going around, like this was like a good natural counter to them, because if your opponent like accidentally discards one of your Dark World guys, like using some like Dark World dealings or something like that, or like card destruction, since that also discards, like then like you could like or like especially if they start off with card destruction. If you had a bunch of Dark Worlds in effect, I mean, in your hand, then you could get like the really powerful effects. Like Snow like has a really powerful like secondary effect that lets her like special summon a monster in the grave, which like when your opponent activates card destruction, they're probably gonna have monsters in the graves for you to be able to special summon. Brow allows you to draw 2 cards, and like they're not even like once per turn or anything. So like if you had multiple Brows, you could just draw like 2 cards plus another 2 cards, like, which is crazy. And your opponent wouldn't really be able to see that coming, if like card destruction is their first is their first card. I mean, sure they would be able to know that for like games 2 and 3, and so they would be a bit more careful, but it still kind of stinks that like most of the cards are kind of just turned off because they're so scared of proccing the opponent's really powerful effects. So they would want to like side a bunch of them out. I mean, sure, I guess you would also have to side a bunch of your things out as well. So I guess it kind of still becomes like an even game state in a way. So I guess it's not like it wasn't like that bad, but it's still kind of cool. It's still kind of cool. But yeah. But of course, I don't think I was really running a lot of... Did I even show off the loan index? Yeah, I showed off the loan deck here, but... See, I don't think I was really running a lot of cards that really would gonna discard cards for my opponent's hand, though. I don't think I was really running a lot myself, so like I didn't really have to worry about that. Which is kind of cool. Oh wait, no, this is wrong. But yeah. So like I didn't really have to worry about the secondary effect since I wasn't really running anything that would seek to discard stuff from my opponent's hand. Just from my own hand. So like pretty much my opponent was only activating like the first effect. But and even with the dangerous frogs, I wasn't really seeking to like discard stuff from my opponent's hand either. So like that was kind of cool that I was able to like run 2 decks that like didn't really do that. But yeah, so anyway, so my opponent was really only focused on like getting the first effect down, but like still my opponent was able to like do enough that where they were able to like set up a pretty like impressive board a few times and be able to get themselves down to 5 cards just off of the first effects alone. So like Danger Darkworld can like really like go out like with like a good enough hand, which is also and since they're able to draw so many cards, that was another reason why they were able to play like this OTK card that like basically where like you had to make it so that like you like drew a few cards and like you like looked at the top card or something, and then if it's another copy of that card, then you automatically win, or like you just inflict a whole bunch of damage to your opponent. But like it was a pretty much auto win. I forget what the name of that card was, but yeah, I think that was one of the reasons why it was banned, because like Dangers and Dark Worlds could like draw so well. Anyway, Brow is, I already explained that one. Beej is pretty nice because it special summons himself. He doesn't have a powerful secondary effect like the others though. And then Snow can search for another Dark World, so she's a really nice card. Blackwing, you return a face-up card, so that's another way to get the dangers back in your hand. Armageddon allows you to send any dark monster to graveyard, so it's a really nice way of like easily getting either a Dark World monster for your Chupacabra special summon, or just Grapha, because he has a pretty easy special summon allowing you to just return one of your Dark Worlds and then you special summon himself from the grave. And then I gotta explain these. And then he also has an effect where if he's discarded, he gets to like destroy any card on the opponent's side of the field, which is a nice effect. And also his more powerful second ability is that you get to like special summon you get to special summon a potential monster from one's hand. Or even if it's not a monster, you get to see like one of their cards. So like if it like was one of their archetypal cards, like that could actually be really big, because then you got to see what your opponent was playing. So this could be maybe like a nice way of like, maybe if you can like if you like get them into your opening hand back in the day, and then like you could try like maybe like doing the dangers first, and then try. Oh wait, no, this is only if it was discarded by an opponent's card effect. Never mind. That I wasn't like thinking the right thing. I thought it was just anything, but no, like it's only if you only get to like do the look at your opponent's hand for one card. If it's so, it doesn't really work. You can't really like spy what your opponent's playing that easily. And then card destruction is very nice, because this can trigger a whole bunch of effects at once. Monster Reborn allows you to special summon. Like, it's just really nice. Like, it's just an overall good card. Foolish Bill. Again, another way to get that Dark Water Grapha in the grave. Reinforcement adds. Just add. I think it has like once. Oh, it adds the Armageddon, but that's a pretty good search still. It's like you're playing an extra card with Armageddon, since you can only play one of him. And then Power of Avarice was really like, this is really good, because like generally this deck is like probably putting a bunch of monsters in the graveyard. So Power of Avarice can do pretty well. As like putting cards back in your deck, so you don't have to like worry as much about like decking out either, because this deck can like draw a bunch of cards like with the right setup. Dark World Dealings to trigger to be able to trigger one of your discards while also getting a draw. And then beginning drawing even more cards. You do have to banish 5 of those docks, though. But that shouldn't be that big of a deal. You just banish the 5 that you don't care as much about. And then Allure, extra draw power. See, like, there's quite a few draw powers in this deck. And then Levier, like, can special summon like one of the docks that you potentially banish off of the beginning of the end. Abyss Dweller again. A lot of these are like kind of the same. Cerberus, though, like again to trigger discards, while also like destroying like something in the front row, destroying a special monster, which like there probably will be at least one. That's for destroying back row. This is for going to links on opponent's turn, which it pairs pretty nicely with Nightmare Unicorn. Because then you can just like get like a spin of anything. Like you get like a interruption of like whatever your opponent like. And then you put it back into the deck, which is like probably like the best place to put it back into. And then Curious can like is another way to send stuff to your graveyard. Blackluster again, Sayuja. It helps filter your hand a bit. Also has some other good effects too, like being able to special summon something from the hand. And giving your monsters a little bit extra attack and defense. And then this allows you to reset your spells, like reset one of your powerful spells while also getting a discard active. Like you could reset the card destruction, that's pretty powerful. And then Appaloosa. I don't believe you might actually be able to like activate card destruction again the same turn. I'm not exactly sure. Oh, but it cannot be activated, so no, okay, I see. Never mind. Anyway, Appaloosa, good for negating monster effects, and then of course Axis Code, good for destroying destroying stuff, maybe going for gain. Also, like, good for being over high attack monsters. Like, if like you're having, if they can't like just be destroyed by his own effect. So yeah. So there's the decks right there. Okay, now go over the. I'll try to get through all the Nephthys decks. Might have to go a little bit quicker for these. Oh wait, I actually didn't do the My Deck duels for this, so I think I'm gonna have to. Yeah, I'm actually gonna have to like save this for later because I don't want to go through the opponent's decks until after I beat them with my decks. So yeah, that's gonna be it for today then. Just going through the danger fouls opponent's loner decks. So I'll just do a Bible verse and then I can do a pack opening. But I think before that I'll also show off a little bit of the Salamangreat deck that you can use for the festival. That is like one of the supposedly better deck. I was trying Flowunderies, but like a lot of the good stuff is banned, so I don't really know as much. Like, so I wasn't really feeling it as much for Flowunderies. I kind of would rather like use decks that like have like more of their power attached to them. Anyway, let's go into this Bible verse. Okay. So it says, you must each decide in your heart how much to give, and don't give reluctantly or in response to pressure, for God loves a person who gives cheerfully. That comes from 2 Corinthians 9:7, the New Living Translation. And they're like, and then the Bible, YouVersion summarization is, God loves a cheerful giver. So basically what this verse is like trying to say is that like, yeah, God loves a cheerful giver, but what that means is like he doesn't want you to like, if you want to start small, that's okay, because he cares more that you're giving cheerfully rather than actually how much you're giving. Like, because like just like in the Bible, just like in the he even gave like a little bit of like a, I forget, like it's like one of his stories that like were like meant to like symbolize something. But basically in one of his stories he was basically saying a whole bunch of people are giving up like a whole bunch of money, but then there was one person who only gave a little bit. Sure, that was all she had, but I think that also like shows that like you could give a whole bunch, but like if you don't really give it like cheerfully, it's not really it doesn't really feel as like worthwhile as someone just giving a little bit but they're giving it cheerfully. That's what I see from this. So don't feel, yeah, so he's saying don't feel pressured to like give more than you feel comfortable with. You can work your way up for it, but just make sure that whatever you're giving, like you feel comfortable giving, and that you feel like you can be cheerful giving. But of course, don't always be in the state of mind that you're only gonna be giving a little bit, like, cause if you like do that day in day out, and you could give more, then maybe you should give a bit more. Like you don't have to like stick to like a strict regimen if you could give more and you don't think that would be a problem either. I kind of struggle a little bit with like this verse because I feel like it's hard for me to like want to give a lot, because like the more I give, the like less I have for other things. But I think the whole part of that is that like you're like trusting God at the same time. That you're trusting um that like you'll be given what you need, and that maybe like also like if you don't have everything that the world wants to offer, like it's okay, because as long as you have the important things that God has to offer, that's what matters more. I just wanted to like look through a few different routes that you could take with this verse. But yeah, you can definitely let me know what you think about the verse. Um, and if you'd like to like discuss more, then that's fine. If you like to like say how you think I did with the verse discussion this time, like I would be happy for feedback. You can let me know what I could improve on, what I did well on, just whatever. I'm okay with it because I'm trying to get through to a lot of people, and if I'm like not explaining in the best way I can be, then that could just be hurting some people. And I don't really want to be hurting people like who want to potentially come to Jesus. So yeah. Anyway, I'm gonna go through the deck that I'm using for the regulation duel. Anyway, how do you if anyone would like to leave a comment on like how they feel about this regulation duel, like if they like it or not, like do you like that it's more of a rank system, or do you prefer the more of like the festival setup? I think I prefer more of the festival setup because I don't have to worry about like losing. I feel like with this, you kind of have to worry a little bit more about losing once you get to a certain point. But I have to see how it is. It may not be that bad. Anyway, this is a deck I'm using for the festival. I just like kind of copied a lot of this off of like someone's video, someone else's YouTube video. Yeah, let me see if I can. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna like give credit within the description. So you know where this deck is kind of coming from, or at least the deck concept. Anyway, yeah, it's basically Salamangreats. And they're like kind of meant to be a link deck anyway. I feel like this is probably like one of the better decks to play in the event, since like you can pretty much pick up 3 copies and you would have most of the cards. And the other cards like are good cards in general anyway. Like Max C is a good card in general anyway. Ash Blossom is a good card in general anyway. Nibiru is a good card in general anyway. You could replace them with like other hand traps though, but like you should definitely at least have a few staples that you could be running. And then like the card, and then Monster Reborn you get for free off of the solo mode. Off of one of those solo mode trainings, so like that's not a big deal. And then Silent Mining, Salamangreat Sanctuary, these Salamangreat cards and Silent Mine you get in the within the structure deck. Yeah. And then Solemn Judgment you get as part of the bundle deal, which you should be getting it, which you should definitely be buying anyway. And then Update Jammer is only a normal, but like Update Jammer is really good with access code because like then you can attack twice, and if you can just get them up to 4300, which like you'll be guaranteed to like be able to get them up to 4300 by just targeting the Update Jammer, and then you can just attack twice. Like, and if you can attack directly with 4300 attack each, then you can just win. Or if you can like somehow target a Link 3, like maybe if you already have a Link 3 in your graveyard. Oh wait, no, this has to target one of the materials that was used for this link summon. So yeah, you pretty much want to be going for this play when you have like when you can like clear up the board, so then you can like just go in directly for 4,300 attack each, and then potentially get game that way. And then these Salamangreat X deck monsters are also found in the structure deck as well. And and I believe the Transcotaka. Maybe I'm wrong. I thought you got a Transcotaka for like getting the Link Evolution deck that you get at the beginning of the game, but I guess not. I guess maybe not. Maybe I just so happen to have them. I also just so happen to have this too, but you could like easily replace these with like other cards. I just think Transcotaka is actually really good because like you can like go into Sunlight Wolf, and then you can use him and one other monster to go into this, and then just like special summon out the Sunlight Wolf from the grave, and then like use the Sanctuary to go into another Sunlight Wolf, while also like having it be while also being linked off into this guy, and since he co-links pretty well, then you can have both of these gain 500 attack, and your opponent can target either of them with card effects, which is pretty nice. And then anyway, a Heat Soul is a good one if you're like running low on life points, because you get like the being able to special summon something. But like I don't really ever go into this, but like still like I guess it's good as like a just in case option. I don't really go into Heat Leo much either, but once again, like a just in case option. And then as for the rest of the deck, I'll just go over it. Foxy can add you a Salamangreat. As long as you're lucky enough to excavate at least one Salamangreat card, you can like add to your hand. It's kind of hard to like ensure that like I think a lot of the time like you're not going to be able to like add something, but I feel like you have enough where sometimes you're able to. But I think like if you have like there's probably like a lot of other better normal summons for this deck. So like Foxy is only there as like if you like have like no other better options as a normal summon. Gazelle is really good because like you're gonna be able to special summon this really easily, and then you can like send one of your like Salamangreat guys that have a graveyard effect, like the Jaguar or the spinning to the graveyard, and then you can like have like those like as an extra buy later on. Ladybug can add you one of your level 3 or lower Cyberses. It can add you the Gazelle if you don't have the Gazelle. It can add you the Spinny, since the Spinny can like easily discard himself later on, just by simply like giving a Salamangreat extra attack, which doesn't really matter, but the more important thing is that it has a way of being able to discard itself to be able to like bring itself out from the graveyard. And then Falco can reset your Salamangreat spells or traps, which is you're probably not gonna like care about this a lot, but it's kind of nice that like it can just be sent to the graveyard in any way. So even if you discard this or send to the graveyard off of Gazelle, you can still set something from the grave. But like but you're probably gonna be wanting to send off like Spinny or Jaguar first before you think about like sending this one to the grave. But like your best option really to send off of with Gazelle is really going to be Aurora, since this can set itself whenever you use a monster as its own link material. Like whenever you like basically trigger the first effect of Sanctuary, this can get itself out of the graveyard. with that special link summon. Which is nice because then you can just like add one of your other spells, one of your other Salamangreat cards, and you don't have to like use it to like add this one specifically. And then, but it does get itself banished though, whereas if you were just to like add to your hand off of the Sunlight Wolf, it wouldn't banish it. So like maybe it's more worth it to bring it to your hand with the Sunlight Wolf than to just set it with its own effect. But it's up to you, I guess. Like it's like, I guess it more depends on the situation. Like if the other option is like maybe if you only had one circle, you maybe would want to like re-add this one instead and just use the Roar's own ability to set itself. But maybe if you had like two circles in your hand, maybe you would rather just like add up the Roar, because then you can just, because you already have a circle anyway. So like, and I think that's something I need to think about more, because like that's something I don't really do. I always just use this effect to reset itself, but maybe it's not the best option every time. Anyway, Jaguar. It has a piercing effect, but that doesn't really matter all too much. Its like main effect is gonna be to like special summon itself out of the graveyard. You have to like reshuffle another target into deck, another one of your Salamangreat monster targets, but you can just choose one of your links to reshuffle. So like this one like may not be a good one to go for like right away, because you might not have a lot of links in the graveyard right away. But like maybe for like future turns it would be good after you. But like the spinning is probably the better option though, since it does banish itself, but like really like most of the time that doesn't really matter. And then Foul is also a really nice one, because it can just special summon itself whenever you know special summon a Salamangreat, which is like really easy to do, because this also counts the links too. And then also it's kind of nice because like it can like lock down one of your opponent's back row. Like maybe if like your opponent has too many stuff and like you're not going to be able to destroy everything with access code, maybe you can just lock down one of their back row, and then you don't have to destroy that one with access code. Anyway, Hoppies and then Nibiru, just because like a lot of decks can pretty easily summon more than 5 or more times in a turn, and this can like help. Basically this can be basically like an auto win against a whole bunch of decks, as long as I like summon at the right time. Hoppy's Feather Duster to destroy back row, and then I don't have to like worry about like destroying them with access code, or maybe there's too many back row that I wouldn't be able to destroy them all with access code. So it's nice that I have this as a backup, and then I can still go for game. And also it's nice because like some of the back row could easily can easily take out my monsters before I get to access code, and so I may not even be able to make access code anyway. Anyway, Monster Reborn, like in case my opponent like maybe like if my opponent like Solemn Judgments one of my monsters, I can still bring out again. So like I can because like really this deck has kind of a hard time if the first normal summon is like negated. I don't believe Gazelle triggers if my opponent's Solemn Judgments one of my other Salamangreats. I'm not exactly sure, but I don't believe it does. So Monster Reborn is really nice to like then like try, like basically like act as like a try again thing. It also is kind of nice if I like have like the Axe code, but I need a little bit of extra damage, or like I need something to like help clear the way for my access code to like be able to get game. So yeah, it's also nice for that. Also, if my opponent has some pretty good big monsters, but mostly it's just to bring monsters out of my graveyard in case I need like a try again, or I need just a little bit extra damage to go for game. And then Silent Mining sends a card from the hand to the graveyard to add a level 4 lower Cybers. What's really nice is that like if I use this to send one of my Salamangreats to the graveyard and then I search for Gazelle, the Gazelle can still trigger. Like I tried that, and yes, the Gazelle can still trigger, so that's pretty cool. So yeah, that's pretty nice. That's like one thing you can do with it. And then Will is Salamangreats, another way to be able to like recur my Salamangreats from the hand and graveyard. Kind of like the same thing as with Monster Reborn, but it can only like special summon Salamangreats. And then Circle to be able like to kind of like act as like extra copies of Silent Mine, but it only searches for Salamangreats. And then Forbidden Droplets basically help to make sure like my plays can go off if my opponent has like a board full of like negates on monsters. Infinite Impermanence kind of for the same thing. Like if my opponent has like a monster negate or like an impressive monster, I can just do impermanence on that before they can like get the effect off. Like I could even do a permanence like during my draw phase if I have no other cards, just to make sure that the effect can't go off if it can only be activated during the main phase or something. I was able to stop like a Tri-Brigade, that Tri-Brigade monster that like during the main phase can special summon one of the Tri-Brigades. I like basically just activate it during the draw phase, and then that Tri-Brigade couldn't activate the effect to special summon anything, which is pretty cool. And I ended up winning that duel. And then Rage, because it can destroy stuff, it's pretty cool. Also, like if I had the Salamangreat Sunlight Wolf out, that was like extra link summoned or whatever, I get to like destroy 2 cards basically with this effect. And then Solemn Judgment just acts as like another form of negation on top of the roar. And both of these are nice because they can even get over like other counter traps. Now I already explained a lot of these. Oh yeah, Bale Links is why I only need to play 1 Sanctuary, because it just searches for a Sanctuary. And then Phoenix, clear up back row, update Jammer to give my access code another attack, and like maybe like attack directly with like 4300 attack, just to be able to get game with an access code talker alone. Sunlight Wolf, because it has some pretty nice effects. It can like recur my fires. It can also recur my spells and traps. Splash Mage, I can get another summon of a Cybers. Unicorn to clear up anything basically. Transcode Talker, I already explained why that's so good. Heat Leo can like shuffle back the back row, which is pretty nice. And then its second effect is never gonna pop up since I'm only running 1 of him. But that doesn't really matter anyway. And then Decode Talker Heat, so like kind of explain him. Yeah. And then that's pretty much a deck. Unfortunately, I no longer have time for a pack opening. But I hope you enjoyed the video nonetheless. I hope you enjoyed me going through the decks. And please like, share, and subscribe. Please leave a comment. It can be anything like related to video, related to verse, or even just a simple emote. Just anything to help the algorithm, please. And I'll see everyone in the next video. Bye.